Hello, you are welcome to another episode on Tomex Academy. Please kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get our videos as soon as it is published. Today, we are going to discuss about chemical bonding. Learning outcomes. At the end of this lesson, learners will be able to define chemical bonding, list and explain the types of chemical bonds. Chemical bonds are forces that hold atoms together to make compounds or molecules. Strength of the bond depends on the atoms or molecules involved in the process of bond formation. The octet rule. The octet rule refers to the tendency of atoms to prefer to have 8 electrons in the valence shell. Chemical compounds bond so that each atom, by gaining, losing, or sharing electrons, has an octet of electrons in its highest occupied energy level. A stable arrangement is attained when the atom is surrounded by 8 electrons. Types of bonding. We have ionic bonds, covalent bonds, hydrogen bonds, and metallic bonds. So we are going to be discussing about these 4 types of bond. Ionic bonding. Ionic bonds are bonds formed between ions with opposite charges. For instance, positively charged sodium ions and negatively charged chloride ions attract each other to make sodium chloride or table salt. Ionic bonding is also known as the process in which electrons are transferred to one another because the 2 atoms have different levels of electron affinity. It occurs between a non-metal and a metal. They are also known as electrovalent bond. A classic example of ionic bonding between sodium and chlorine. Sodium has 1 valence electron. Chlorine needs 1 valence electron to fill its valence shell. The ions now have opposite charges and are attracted to each other by electrostatic forces. They form a crystal with rock-salt structure. Covalent bonding. Covalent bonding is the process of sharing of electrons between 2 atoms. The bonds are typically between a non-metal and a non-metal. Since their electronegativities are all within the high range, the electrons are attracted and pulled by both atoms' nuclei. Covalent bonds are more common than ionic bonds in the molecules of living organisms. A classic example of covalent bonding between hydrogen and chlorine. Hydrogen has 1 valence electron. Chlorine has 7 valence electrons. They are attracted to each other and share the electrons between them to attain stability. A covalent bond is made and hydrogen chloride is formed. Hydrogen bonding. A hydrogen bond is an intermolecular attractive force in which a hydrogen atom that is covalently bonded to a small, highly electronegative atom is attracted to a lone pair of electrons on an atom in a neighboring molecule. Hydrogen bonds are very strong compared to other dipole interactions. The strength of a typical hydrogen bond is about 5% of that of a covalent bond. The intermolecular force arises when hydrogen atom is covalently bonded to highly electronegative atoms like oxygen, fluorine, iodine, bromine, nitrogen. Each hydrogen atom is covalently bonded to the oxygen via a shared pair of electrons. Oxygen also has 2 unshared pairs of electrons. Thus, there are 4 pairs of electrons surrounding the oxygen atom, 2 pairs involving covalent bonds with hydrogen, and 2 unshared pairs on the opposite side of the oxygen atom. Oxygen is an electronegative atom compared with hydrogen. Metallic bonding. Metallic bond is an attractive force that holds metal atoms together in crystal lattice. In a crystal lattice, the valence electron of metal tends to separate from its orbital and move at random, forming an electron cloud. The metallic ions formed tend to repel one another but are held together by the attractive force which exists between the electron cloud and the positive charge metallic ions. As the metal cation and the electrons are oppositely charged, they will be attracted to each other and also to other metal cation. These electrostatic forces are called metallic bond. Class evaluation. Which of the following molecules would one expect to have hydrogen bond? A. Hydrogen chloride. B. Fluorine molecule. C. Hydrogen fluoride. D. Sodium chloride. Question 2. Ionic bonds are also known as A. Metallic bond, B. Electrovalent bond, C. Covalent bond, D. Hydrogen bond. The answer to question number 1 is C. Hydrogen fluoride. And the answer to question number 2 is B. Electrovalent bond. In this lesson, you have learnt that chemical bonds hold molecules together and create temporary connections that are essential to life. Types of chemical bonds include covalent, ionic, hydrogen, and metallic bonding. Assignment. What is covalent bonding? 2. What is the octet rule? 3. Is a bond between potassium and chlorine metallic bond or ionic bond? Thank you for joining us on today's episode on Tomex Academy. We hope to see you in the next class.